lot of people think that being trans is just about transitioning, changing your name, changing your clothes, changing your body, but nobody talks about what comes after that. Nobody talks about the depression, the loneliness, the exhaustion of surviving in a world that's constantly reminding you that you're different. Let's talk about the depression in the trans community on the Big Purr. Welcome back to another video. My name is Alizea and I'm here for Black Transsexual. Get up into the Big Purr, whatever. I'm back. How are you wonderful, amazing people doing today, girl? I hope you're doing amazing. Thank you for asking, period. But before we get into today's wonderful, amazing video, because you know your girl got sidetracked, girl, I need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss this pretty face on your screen. Bada bing, bada boom, girl. And we're going to dive into today's wonderful video, so make sure you guys grab a snack and grab your papa passer because, girl, it's going to get messy and ghetto. Chapter 1. What depression looks like for trans people. Depression doesn't always look like crying on the floor. Sometimes it feels like smiling in public but feeling empty inside, sleeping all day or not sleeping at all, isolating yourself because you're tired of explaining your existence, losing motivation to do things you once loved, feeling numb instead of, feeling sad. And a lot of people don't talk about it, but we're expected to be strong, grateful, or resilient. But strength doesn't cancel out depression, literally.
One of the hardest part about transitioning that I feel a lot of trans girls don't talk about enough is it feels like you're in a race. Like, for example, if you feel like you don't have hips, if you feel like you don't have boobs, if you feel like you don't have the hourglass curvature figure, and you open up Instagram and you see a trans girl and she has like the big hips, she has the big boobs, like she has the flawless skin. Then you see her caption like, on my way to the Hamptons to see my sugar daddies. And I'm the type of bitch where I have a luxurious lifestyle, but I'm funding it all myself. I'm so afraid of like losing money or like not having money and going back to living home and not having like my own independent lifestyle that I want, that I will keep working and never have a day off. And I literally don't have a social life. I have no friends. I've been out here in Seattle for over a year. My teeth is not straight, obviously, and it pisses me off. And anytime when I'm talking, I try not to smile too much, because anytime when I'm talking to somebody, I feel like they're judging me based off of my teeth, because my gap is kind of like apparent. So it's kind of like, well, damn, now I gotta kind of work a lot to make sure I can fund that. It gets a little difficult sometimes, like, you can't help it because you feel like you're in a race. Like, you feel like, on one hand, you're like, well, let me not compare myself to somebody else because obviously that's not going to be good for my mental health. But on the other hand, it's like you can't help but to compare because this is literally your lifestyle. Like, it's not like everybody in the world is trans, like this lifestyle is kind of like exclusive. Like, only the people that's in the lifestyle will understand certain things that other people that's not in it wouldn't. So it's almost like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all a family even though we don't know each other. So usually when we see somebody else kind of like have that body, it's almost like, well, damn, bitch, like, like, I want my hips. Like, you wearing your skirt, I'm still putting my butt pads in to wear mine. What the fuck?
Here's the thing. When you're trans, one of the first things you start doing is growing out your hair, right? So for the white trans girls, their hair just grows long and it grows down. And so even when they just chilling in the house, they have the long hair going for them, right? But if you're black, if you have 4C hair like me, when your hair grows, it's growing out. So if you do wear wigs, you're putting your hair in cornrows, right? So when you're chilling at the house, you're not chilling with just your hair out. Like, if somebody was to knock on the door unexpectedly, you answer still with your long hair. Girl, you're answering with cornrows and you got your bonnet on, right? We don't really have the effortless hair part going for us. So then the options are, if you're a black trans woman, you can either wear wigs, like a lot of us do, and it's like, okay, if you wear wigs, most of the time you're gonna have cornrows under it. And then another option is braids, because everyone knows that braids feel more effortless than a wig, because you don't have to put it on every day, you don't have to take it off every day. But these prices are through the roof, so you gotta pay more money to feel effortless. Like, if somebody was to knock on your door at 2 a.m., you can just answer like, with your hair already braided and done. So then for us black trans girls who wear wigs, we get home and we take off our wig and we feel like we frauds. Let's wake that up. Why does no one talk about that? That is the one thing that just pisses me off about being black, is I just wish our hair was more effortlessly manageable. You can't wake up 2 minutes before you gotta leave because you gotta do something to your hair or you're gonna feel like you look crazy. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about black women hair depression and the specific flavor of black women hair depression for trans women. Let's talk about that. And I know even cis women deal with this too. Like, we've all seen that meme where it's like, when you want to run your hand through her hair, but her hair's sitting on a dresser. Like, oh my God, we cannot win. We cannot win.
Why depression is so common in the trans community? Depression in the trans community doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from trauma. It comes from family rejection, being kicked out, being emotionally abandoned, being loved only if you stay silent, dysphoria, waking up in a body that doesn't feel like home, avoiding mirrors, being misgendered even when you're trying your best, society and transphobia. Girl, the list goes on. A lot of laws have been passed against us. The online hate is getting even worse. Every time you scroll on social media, you're always seeing, a transphobic comment, being a political debate topic. It's a response of surviving all this. You just shut down, literally.
Every time I turn around, you got an attitude. Well, every single time I turn around, you're giving me attitude, man. Like I won't put my hands on you. I just feel like nobody... I don't know. What's the problem, man? What is the problem? Cause lately, man, you ain't been you. Nah, this ain't you. You coming out that room like you ain't ate in days. As soon as I walk in the house, you yelling at me, and you ask me why I don't come out my room. And you ask me why I seem like I got an attitude. But when I tell you the reason, I know you're not gonna hear me. I know you're not gonna listen to me because you never have. But let you tell her, right now as we speak, I'm being disrespectful. What does it matter anyway? What's the problem, man? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Seriously. Talk to me. What's the problem, man? Nobody cares about me. They only care when I'm doing the wrong thing and doing the right thing for them. That's not fair. You don't give me a chance. So I'm a bad parent. So you're saying I'm a bad parent? I get a lot of anxiety. I get so much anxiety. I'm really depressed. I don't feel like no one loves me. You telling me that I don't get up every day and work hard to make sure the food is on this table, and you want to talk about you what? You what?
You come from a household where you genuinely don't know how to open up to your people, and you come from a household where you just keep shit in, when y'all get into arguments and conversations like that, bro, it's really generational trauma. And I'm definitely speaking like on my behalf in my community, bro. Most, I said most, don't show unconditional love to their kids until certain shit happens to them. You cannot pass down generational anger and frustration to your kid expecting them to grow up to love you. Having a simple conversation with your children instead of going into a rage or an outburst, bro, will save so much time and frustration. Black people, bro, we just sweep shit under the rug and act like nothing ever happened, and we just don't talk about certain things, and we really don't open up to each other. And it's really fucked up, bro, because little do we know it, bro, we are passing down generational trauma by generation, by generation, by generation.
You're not responsible for healing the damage that your parent has caused in a relationship with them. And one of the reasons why many of you all cannot heal is because you're still stuck in that place of grief. And I know that this is about to ruffle a couple of feathers, and I know a lot of y'all like to tussle, but baby, you're going to be tussling with yourself in the comment section because I'm not going back and forth. Grief is not just physical loss. Sometimes when we have a relationship with our parents, the parents who didn't provide the nurturance, who didn't provide the protection, who didn't provide the security, a sense of belonging that was necessary for a child in their upbringing, the child, when they go into their adult years, as they grow into their adult years, they carry the loss of not having those things. You as a parent were supposed to grant your child security and protection, and the pain of that betrayal of not having that security or that protection from the person who brought you into this world, the sorrow of not having the love or that sense of belonging and longing for that, longing for something that you should have had or something that is probably never going to be. Let's think about the children who have had to see other children be loved correctly, and then they're in a situation where they're not being loved correctly. That is grief in itself. Out of all of my study, out of all of my clients and working with people through healing and finding security within themselves, I can't tell you how many stories I have heard from adults of their childhood, of their upbringing, where they had to constantly be the emotional support. They had to constantly be the emotional labor. They were parentified. They were spouseified. They constantly had to help parents through their addictions. They constantly had to protect parents. They had to constantly walk on eggshells. Don't even get me started on the eggshell household and eggshell parenting. But they constantly had to walk on eggshells because they never knew when their parents were going to be dysregulated. They never knew what type of moods their parents were going to have. So they constantly had to be in a house that was supposed to be a home, that was supposed to grant you, that was supposed to be your solace, your protection, and it wasn't. I can't tell you how many stories I have heard of people talking about the abuse that they have endured, whether it was physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, and it upsets me. And yes, I am emotional today because I'm passionate about this. So my emotions are here. Probably need to do some breath work in a little bit because I'm very passionate about this. So I'm talking to the little girl or the little boy that's inside of you that is broken, that is wounded, that is screaming for somebody to reparent them. I'm talking to you right now, honey. You are not responsible for the damage and the pain that was inflicted on you by your parents. You no longer have to sit in the guilt of that. You no longer have to sit in the blame of that because it's not on you, honey. You were a child. You were innocent. You were blameless. It is not your fault. You didn't cause it. It's not something that you did. It's not something that you said that caused that pain on you when a parent inflicted it on you. That is on them. It is not your fault. Stop taking fault. Stop trying to figure it out. Don't believe the lies that were told to you. Stop telling yourself lies to make up and to make sense of what has happened to you. Is not your fault. You were never supposed to be your parent's parent. You were never supposed to be used to heal your parents' wounds. And don't get me wrong, bringing a child into this world, it naturally and inadvertently heals your wounds from time to time. But it was not your responsibility to take on that role of a healer, of a confidant, of a teacher, of a parent as a child. That was not your role. So if your heart does not desire to fix it, you don't have to. You don't have to, especially if you see that your parent is not even trying to fix the damage that they have done. That's their responsibility. Their role was to protect you and love you. And if they didn't grant you that, they're the blame, not you. Okay? And don't you take all full responsibility for fixing that problem. This is me talking to you all who have gone through this and you're still stuck in that place of grief because you're trying to understand why my life was never the life that I wished for. Why didn't my parents love me right? Why didn't they protect me? Why didn't they shelter me? Why didn't they love me? Why didn't they give me a sense of belonging? Why did they make me feel like a human? This is me talking to you all because I understand why you're so angry. I understand why you're upset. I understand why you're hurt. I understand why you're depressed. I understand why you're stuck in this state of confusion. I understand it because you're still stuck in that place of grief. And you're going to have to work through those stages of grief to understand why you're grieving, because it's probably that little child in you that's still grieving.
How depression affects daily life. Depression doesn't just stay in your head. It affects relationships, pushing people away, even when you need them the most. When you go to work, you're struggling to show up or even care about the job. And money, when you're broke and you don't have enough, you really can't get the surgeries that you want. Like, hormone replacement therapy, is getting even more expensive with all the stuff that's happening right now. You got to go through several loopholes. You can't change your wardrobe. You're looking in the mirror and you're like, I want some new clothes, but I don't have no money. Then you have to go to the job that you don't like and that's being transphobic to you and trying to hate crime you. The list goes on. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's just like, some days just existing feels like a full-time job, and people don't see that part of being trans.
Let's talk about the unspoken truth about how hard it is to get a job as a trans person. Now, don't get me wrong. Trans people are getting jobs. You can get a job if you are a trans person. I'm at my job right now. But what I've noticed since doing recent job interviews as I'm looking for a second job is there have been instances where I go into the job interview, I'm like, oh, this went really well. I'm about to get the job. And then I just don't get the job. And of course, it can be a situation where another candidate was better than me. But what I think it is a lot of the times, and what I think a lot of people don't say, is I think that in the workplace, trans people can be seen as a liability to hire. I think a lot of people are scared that trans people are going to come in and they're going to need all these extra accommodations. And they're going to be like calling HR every 2 weeks. And I think that employers are scared of that. They're scared that, oh my God, this trans person is going to come in here and they're going to have an issue with every single thing we do. When 99% of the time, girl, we just want to come in, work, and get a check. Also, no shade, I don't know if this is just me, but sometimes I notice when I show up to the job interview, they be a little bit gad like, wait, like, am I interviewing HR? And then it's like, yes, girl, I need a job too, just like everybody else. I need my money. I need my coins. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Truth be told, I have been hired and had more successful interviews with like Republicans than I have had with liberal people. Why is that? Girl, the Republicans, they be in a job interview knowing I'm trans, like, ooh, I like you. And the liberals be like, So truth be told, there have been situations where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get the job because I could tell that man was an old white Republican. You've got the job. And then I interview with a white lady who I'm like, oh, you got to be progressive. She got a little pronoun pen. It's like, no, ma'am. What? Let me know if you've experienced the same thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm grateful to be working. I'm grateful for a job, but I'm starting to realize I hate fucking working. Like, I hate having to abide by somebody's schedule. I have to force myself to wake up in the morning and do things that I don't want to do. I'm starting to realize the fact that society literally puts people in a hamster wheel of confinement and restraint of a schedule just sucks. And you have to adhere to this for what? However many years until retirement, supposedly at 65. And this is miserable. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I see why people do jobs like streaming and entertainment. I mean, a job is a job and everything has its pros and cons, but I need some excitement out this mother. This shit is miserable, bro. Like, I literally am so drained, especially being in customer service, like saying the same thing over and over. These people really treat you like this is, I feel like it's modern day slavery to an extent. We're getting paid pennies to me, be overworked. You want me to multitask. You want me to overwork my brain, overwork my body, overwork my eyes. People don't talk about the long-term effects of staring at a computer and data entry, and then they want to give you metrics and expectations and write-ups and all of this stuff. And it's like your company doesn't even run itself effectively. Y'all don't even have realistic expectations for employees to actually be productive. You have toxic work environments. Even remote can be a toxic work environment because people can fucking cyberbully you. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. You got to work with people you don't like, you don't want to see. You have to play into the politics of You can't just possibly come in and get your money, because I'm one of those people. I just want to come in and get my money. I don't give a fuck about none of y'all. I'm sorry. I just don't, because I don't want to work anyway. So I'm not here to make friends. I want to get my check and I want to go home.
My personal experience. I want you guys to understand me and listen to me when I say this. I sometimes come on the internet and I am very bubbly. I'm very, I come on being all gorgeous, all happy. A lot of y'all be saying I have such good energy. It's all a lie. I am dying inside. Okay, you want me to be honest with you? I'm making this video because I am depressed. I'm tired, y'all. Like, I am so sick and tired of getting on the internet and literally seeing my trans identity being a debate topic. I'm so tired of going to a job where I'm not recognized, where my worth is always being criticized and it's being taken advantage of. That's what the hell I'm trying to say. Like, I don't really have family. Like, I only have my siblings, but they're grown. So, like, I don't have nobody that's, like, around my age that I can connect with and that I can talk to. Then I don't have no trans friends, girl. Let me clarify, girl. But, like, I don't have no friends. And I don't really connect with people. Like, I'm lonely. I'm tired. I'm depressed. Like, my coping mechanism for, like, basically being depressed is literally getting on the internet and making YouTube videos. And, right now, the biggest struggle that I'm dealing with right now is because, dealing with right now is that, like, how do I even say it like this? I am trying to move, and right now I am very scared that I'm gonna be homeless. And the reason why I'm, like, over exaggerating things, like, I'm overthinking things. That's what the hell I'm trying to say. I'm overthinking a lot of things is because I don't want to fall into that generational curse with, like, my auntie, because, like, my auntie, that girl, oh Lord, she been evicted multiple times, couldn't pay rent multiple times. And when I move, I'm officially going to be on my own. I'm not going to have no friends. I'm not going to have no family nearby. I'm literally starting completely over. And especially in this climate that we're in, especially in this, new generation that we're in, like things have changed and it feels so damn lonely and isolating. Like, I would have never thought the world would be so evil. And, sometimes it feels like it's never enough for me to just live and just walk outside and try to exist. Like, I try my hardest to be, all bubbly and shit. Like, I try my hardest. Like, that's why, when y'all be saying, oh, passing is so bad for you. Well, you want me to cry on the goddamn internet? You want me to get on this camera and be real? No. I gotta water it down, girl. Y'all not gonna be having me in a Blair White video. Blair White saying, black liberal with sparkles on her face is crying about, the environment and the atmosphere. No, girl, I gotta keep it cute. I hit my little Nicki Minaj and gone on by my day. But it's just like, it's feeling like nobody understands me. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to feel free, but right now that's something that I'm battling with. I'm not even like really depressed, but I feel lonely. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel very lonely. Depression is an understatement. I feel depressed when I go to work. What help actually looks like. Healing isn't just a motivational quote. Real help looks like this. When you build a community, even if it starts online, setting boundaries with people who drain you, medication if needed, girl. No shame in the game, girl. Allowing yourself, to rest. Choosing yourself over people who refuse to respect you. It's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel, lonely. It's okay to go through all the emotions that you're going through. You're a human being, and human beings go through those same things that you're going through, okay?
I'm going to talk about a feeling that I know a lot of trans girls can relate to, which is the feeling that you're not progressing in your transition fast enough, you're stagnant, you don't have any of the surgeries you want, you're watching all these girls get this and this and this and this, and you just sitting over here like, okay, win for me, win for me, win for me. So as somebody who's finally about to get their first surgery at the age of 24, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my story. So long story short, I came out as trans when I was 17 years old. This was back in 2018. I started my hormones, baby, they started me off on the pill. And within 3 to 4 months of being on the pill, I ended up getting blood clots in my leg. After I got my blood clots, I got off of the hormones and I was terrified to get back on them. I did not get back on hormones until 2022. So I'm 24 now, so I've been back on hormones for almost 2 years at this point. These past 2 years in particular have been the roughest for me because I feel like I have to catch up on lost time. You know what I'm saying? Very often I think to myself, oh my God, what would have happened if I never would have got those blood clots? Oh my God, what would have happened if I would have stayed on hormones since I was 17? I would have been on hormones for 7 years. Oh my God. And I get in my head and I'm like, oh my God, girl, you're behind, you're behind, you're behind. So last year was like the worst for me. Like I had the worst dysphoria I've ever had. I just felt so behind. That was when I made the decision. I'm going to get 2 full-time jobs and I'm not going to stop working until I can secure my surgeries. So for the past 5 months, I have been working 2 full-time jobs, 16 hours a day, 80 hours a week. And with that money, I was able to secure health insurance. Because of the health insurance, I'm able to get my FFS in August, and I'm able to get my bottom surgery in November. And also, I was able to save up the cash money to pay for my rhinoplasty, which will be next week in Turkey. But what TikTok does not know is that my mental health and my physical health were deteriorating severely. Like, I was on the verge of going insane from sleep deprivation. I was sleeping 3 hours a night, was seeing things that weren't there. I was hearing things that weren't there, and I'm laughing, but it's not funny. And then my final breaking point was when I was driving on the highway and I started dozing off on the highway. And then I realized at that point, like, girl, you are killing yourself, you're grueling yourself for these surgeries, but if you're not even gonna be able to get the surgeries, you already have the health insurance. Stop while you are still alive. So I quit one of my jobs. And I just want to say, as someone who literally pushed themselves to the limit by working 2 full-time jobs because I was that hungry to finally see change in my transition and finally get my surgeries, I just want to say, take your time, Think about the girl who you think is the most sickening trans girl. They didn't start off like that. And there is beauty in the journey. If you're feeling defeated right now, trust me, I've been there, but just know it will get better.
If you're trans watching this, if you're tired, if you feel stuck, if you ever thought about giving up, please hear me when I say this. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are responding to a world that makes survival hard. Your life matters, even on days it doesn't feel like it. But I love you, wonderful, amazing people. This is the end of the goddamn video. Get up into the big purr. If you made it to the end of the video, today's emoji is going to be a rainbow, girl. Just any rainbow. You could drop rainbow emojis. You could drop all the goddamn hearts and the color scheme. I really don't care. Bada bing, bada boom. But I love you, amazing people. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Stay strong in this world, girl. We got to stick together. Yes, I love it. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss this pretty face on your screen. Bada bing, bada boom. But I love you guys. I'm going to talk to you guys later, girl, because I got to go record some more videos. I told you I'm pushing out 30 videos, girl. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada ba ba ba.